Hello once again, Star Wars and Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm Darth Tuba, and today we have kind of a follow-up to one of our Galaxy's Edge visits with the Droid Factory color-changing droid playset with light and sound effects. And for this to add to the front of the playset, we've got a four-pack of droids, color-changing droids. I don't think this works for all kinds of droids. I think you need to find special color-changing droids. So we have that. But before we get to that, let's take a look at what we have here, which is just a first order tread speeder from The Rise of Skywalker. They fly now. Yes. And I don't know. I haven't been overly enthusiastic about all the Funko Pops. I do enjoy grabbing one or two here and there. But I don't know. Something about this one I just thought was kind of nice. So I thought, let's take this one and take it out of its box and see what it looks like. Obviously, it's a kind of a 2-pack of figure, but it's also set up on a kind of a statuesque kind of thing here. Let me get all this kind of out of the way. So again, folks, if you are the kind of person who likes to box, keep the toys in the box, keep the mint in the box, I am all for that. Bravo, way to go, good on you. But for me, it's simply a matter of space. I do enjoy collecting, but space, like most collectors and most collections, space is at a premium, and we have to make choices. In fact, I was looking around the main part of the Star Wars collecting room, and I was realizing, you know what? I'm gonna have to rethink how I'm displaying some of this stuff, because I look and I use a certain type of shelf space for many times. I basically was using a I guess you could call it almost like a garage shelf kind of setup with not metal. I didn't like metal just because I used to work in a job that I had to put those things together. It was gray metal shelving, and I do not recommend it. Even though it does the job, it just, the metal scratching on metal, it's very heavy, it's very easy to, when you're screwing all the stuff together, it's just really easy to get hurt. And I did, and it's just bad memory, so I didn't use that. So I found this white plastic shelving, but basically like white plastic flat shelves and white tubes that kind of fit into each other, and you stack it up, which I thought, okay, this is good. This is a kind of a cool way to display stuff. And it worked very well. It wasn't very expensive, something you can get at like Home Depot or Lowe's for relatively inexpensive. But in looking at some of the shelves, I realized that, I'm probably more in need of something like you see behind me here, where I can actually adjust the shelves, because there are things that are really tall, but then there are other things that are really short. So I have shelves that have little short things on them, and then all this free space, and I have to start condensing what we do. So maybe there'll be a future episode where we start working on that. Who knows? But let's get back on task here with the what is this called again? The speeder. Okay, I want to say speeder bike. It's not a speeder. It is sort of a speeder bike, but it's got the treads on the bottom, so it can go through the sand. A lot of people might say, well, wait a minute, why don't they just use speeder bikes? I mean, speeder bikes will go over sand as well as they would go over forest terrain or snow or anything else that you've seen speeder bikes. My answer to that is, well, maybe they wanted something that they didn't have to have the hover technology, so it could work on multiple terrain, and maybe, who knows, maybe they have more control this way. I'm trying to think of an in-universe answer. I think out-of-universe and our universe, I just think they were trying to find something that was different. They didn't want to constantly be going back to the same vehicles, the same things that they did. And I have no problem with that. I mean, you consider the first 3 original trilogies, Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, we saw some of the same vehicles, but they always introduced something new. Empire Strikes Back, they had the snow speeder, they had the AT-AT, and then the cloud cars in Bespin. And then when we got to Return of the Jedi, we had speeder bikes, we had a new type of TIE fighter, we had B-wing fighters, A-wing fighters. I think that they just want to be more creative and expand the universe a little bit. Well, now we have 9 movies plus Rogue One and Solo, so 11 movies. Yeah, there's a lot of expansion going on there, so I think it's okay. So we got these 2 figures. It looks like they are permanently attached to the vehicle, and it doesn't look like there's any kind of, the vehicle doesn't look like it does like in the movie. Again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker. If you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker by now, go see it. Go see the movie. Don't listen to any haters. See it and judge for yourself. Okay? Although I have to say, I feel like there's a much more positive vibe happening. I can sense that there are some YouTubers and some news agencies that are trying to say, like, why Disney failed miserably at Star Wars. Like, look, Disney didn't fail miserably at Star Wars. I don't care what anybody says. All right, dollars and cents alone will tell you that Disney did not fail at Star Wars in any way. Maybe Solo didn't perform as well, but out of, they've created 5 movies and only one of them didn't perform as well and still beat out like a bunch of the Marvel movies. So yeah, I don't call that not performing well. I just think there was a lot of drama there, and they're going to try to avoid that kind of error to begin with. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. So I think though that assuming, spoiler alert, this is the vehicle that launches from the back, and you can tell, like, if you get a good close look at the they're very nervous. You have the front driver that looks like a standard First Order Stormtrooper, but then you have the back one that is actually a jet trooper. It's one that has a little backpack, and this thing would launch into the air and give him a little bump to start, and then the rockets would take off, and then he would fly. And that's the joke. They fly now. No. And again, to all of our, I don't mean to roll my eyes, but to my brethren and all those people out there that maybe don't share my love for the Rise of Skywalker and like to nitpick. It's okay to nitpick. Nitpicking is fine. And yes, there have been evidence to support, in canon evidence, like for example, the both Clone Wars and Rebels cartoon, they have had troopers that have used rocket packs. Although most of the time we were talking about Mandalorians, okay, that type of thing. I think it was more connected to that. I don't really think it was meant to be a standardized, Stormtrooper, Empire issue or First Order issue. And yes, I know the comics had it, but it's the first time in a standard movie universe we have seen launched into the air Stormtroopers that fly. Hence, they fly now. So that's all it is. I think this is really cool. I kind of like that it's very stationary, because some of these things, when you have the little stand and which is single figures, they can fall off, and that can get kind of confusing. So, and kind of messy. This is kind of nice, and it still has a bobblehead kind of setup. So I really like this. I'm actually going to find a home for it right here on the shelf up top there next to Ahsoka. So I think that's really cool. And yeah, someday, I know people were asking. I've had some people ask, like, you haven't thought about making, doing an organized kind of. Let's put him. I'm going to slide him over here. They asked if you've ever thought about having like an organized, better organization of your collection. Because right now, I will admit, it's very mishmash. It's all over the place. And I do agree. I have some areas of the collection, and I'm going to get back into some shelf talk so you can see this. I have some areas where we've started to, kind of combine and put things in a good area. But it's a livable space. We live here. This is a laundry room. There's a boiler room. There's some other household storage. You do the best with what you have. So my advice to collectors and people putting things on display: just do your best what you can do. There's so many great ways now to display. But I will advise people, and I do this, watch some other videos. You'll get some great ideas. Watch them. Just type in Star Wars collection on YouTube. You'll find all sorts of people's different collections. It's amazing what people can do. And I'm impressed by what a lot of people do. There's a lot of people that, I'm into a lot of the knick-knack kind of smaller stuff along with some of the high-end. There are people that only collect high-end. And I got to tell you, I see the benefit of that, because, maybe it's better to spend, instead of taking $250 and buying 50 pieces of little things, buy one really nice thing, and then, a couple of months later, spend another $250, and just kind of budget that way, and have all these really nice pieces that can kind of, and they're all kind of, it's easier to display. There's something to be said for that. And believe me, there's probably a time in my life where a lot of the little knickknacks and tchotchkes and smaller collectible items are going to get sold off and traded in for bigger items. But we'll see. Right now, I'm enjoying this. So let's move on. Droid Factory, color-changing droid playset with light and sound effects. All right. So again, this is only available currently at the Droid Depot in Galaxy's Edge. So it's a playset from the Star Wars universe, which I think is rather unique. Okay. I have to give Disney credit. A few episodes ago, you saw that we did the Sandcrawler, which was not a Galaxy's Edge item, but rather a It wasn't a Galaxy's Edge item, but it was a, outside of Galaxy's Edge item, meaning it was meant to be something that. That's a little power droid. their power droids, man, are very, very, very inexpensive. You can tell they're just very lightweight, but they do the job. They look like the model. So I'm just gonna get all this stuff kind of put back in here and put back in the box. Now this said it came with batteries, so hopefully they're not lying. We will see. Definitely feels heavy, like there might be batteries already in there. I find that odd though that they keep that if there are batteries. Let me make sure that no, nothing else in there. Batteries included. Normally they include them, but they keep them separate. But here, there's nothing kind of available, so we shall see what that means. Anyway, so yeah, Disney has put out some. They're kind of doing a better job in some ways. I gotta say, I don't mean to sound negative because I'm not a negative person, but I gotta say that I've been a little disappointed in Hasbro as of late. Not really releasing a lot. So it was. Imagine my wonder and surprise when I go to Galaxy's Edge and they have action figures and they have playsets and they have lots of stuff that you can purchase. And I thought that's really cool. Oh, you know what? I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm gonna grab this again. I'm not gonna even edit that out. We'll leave it in. They don't include instructions here, so all they there were no instructions. Just something here about the batteries. So let's just put it together first. All right. So what do we got here? We got we have a little tread here. Got a little treadmill. Oh, I think that might be. All right. Let's see. Do we have an on or an off switch? Okay. That sounds like a BB unit. Sounds like an R2 unit. Interesting. All right, let's see if we put. This looks like there's an actual electronics here. So let's. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that means, but all right, there's a little thing there. All right, what else we got here? We have our little. This looks like it's just a place to put this. We have our. Am I missing something? Trying to make sure I have the right. All right, guys. Oh, this goes either way. Okay, I see. So, yeah, it looks like this is the front. There it is. Well, this doesn't want to stay in, but okay. Come on. All right, well, whatever. All right, and then this has a little thing up here. It's like a crane. This looks like it fits right there. And this oh, there's something underneath here. Hang on. We've got something. Not much, but it could be a life form. Oh, okay. So this goes here. And this piece, I am not sure what this piece is. It looks like this piece, I'm really not sure. Am I missing something? Got a piece here, got a piece here. Yeah, kind of weird. All right. And then we have our little always good to remember, guys, for those who haven't watched before, always good to have a couple of things ready, like there we go. Now, where do we put these little cranes? Looks like they all go in here. Okay. That's one. That's two. Now, I will say this. Okay. This is, by all accounts, a very basic playset, but it's a playset nonetheless. So again, there's, as a person who grew up in the original trilogy, who grew up, and again, I tend to be a lover of all things Star Wars. So in other words, I love the prequels, I love the sequel trilogy, I loved Rogue One and Solo. Okay, there's very little I found to have fault with any of those. But having said that, I also feel that from a collecting standpoint, I believe that Hasbro has changed with the times. I do believe that they sometimes miss the mark. I do believe that they aim more towards kids than they do for adult collectors, which I understand why they're doing that. But the kid market, the child market, is changing grossly different than what it was even 5 years ago, let alone 40 years ago. So I always feel like I wish that there was a way in this day and age with crowdsourcing, like with the Jabba sail barge. I feel like there's a way that we can, have our cake and eat it too. We can order toys, collections, things that we want. Case in point, there's a custom person out there, and I've done videos. I've ordered some of his things. Smith Lord Creations. I know some people have a problem with that, but he puts out great vintage style figures that were never made. All right, but figures that were made that might have been made or could have been made had they continued the line in card stock that looks like the original cards. Great, awesome figures. And look, there are companies out there. Look at the reaction figures. Look at what Funko does. I mean, there are some great figures that have that kind of not super articulated, not 100% likeness sculpts that people like. I'm not saying that the 100% likeness, the scanned imagery of figures that look very lifelike isn't a good thing. That's great too. But it just feels like, we just don't seem to get enough of it. Okay, or we don't get enough options. Maybe that, and I get it. It's a business, and I understand that. So there you go. Who knows? But anyway, all right. So here's our droid. Here's our droid playset. Now, of course, you have. Oh, I know where this goes. Hang on. This goes underneath. All right. I hear you. I betcha. Yep. That's where it goes. Boom. Done. All right, so you have this. All right, now let's take out the droids here, okay? Before I go, we'll put one right here. We'll put a little power droid, a little gonk right here. You can hang out. Oh, they do have little peg holes. So if hopefully they line up appropriately. Okay, that seems to work. Now I will say that the Droid Factory ran for $49.95, and the 4-pack of droids ran for $39.99. Now, that seems rather pricey for 4 droids, but when you consider the fact that small action figures now are costing upwards to $12, $14, that's actually, you're actually saving something on that. So take it as you come. I will say this, as an annual pass holder and a DVC member, I get a 20% discount, which I think when you take 20% off of a $50 toy, now it becomes a $40 toy, and 20% off of a $40 set of figures now becomes a $32 set of figures. Now I think that you've kind of approached what is essentially fair market, price. But nonetheless, everyone, can do it there, do what they feel is right. All right, so we have these 4 figures now. These are, in fact, color changing figures, okay? It says color change droid reveals second color when placed in warm or cold water. All right, so we need some water, okay? Well, let's start with this one. I'm going to pour some cold water, and I happen to have some cold water right here. Okay, so why don't we try, let's see what happens when we put R2. I'm going to let R2 go in the cold water. Okay, so you can still see him. Okay, in you go. Let's let him, I'm going to close that up a little bit and let him sit a few minutes. Now, in this one, if only we had some hot water, just so happens we do, or warm water. We'll fill this up with warm water. Okay. and we will put this fellow. By the way, that R unit, they didn't name them, did they? So, okay. Oh, they just called it an R2 unit. And this one was an RA7 protocol droid. And it looks like he's kind of black. So we're going to put him in there. Let him sit a minute. Okay. And let's see what we got here. Now, what I think might be the case, yeah, I have a feeling. All right. See, it looks like this R2 unit hasn't changed. So I think the first thing you got to do is I'm looking like the warm water one is doing what you want. Okay. And what I'll do, guys, is at the end of this, I will redo this experiment and show you guys up close what it is. Okay. But now he came out all blue. Okay. He came out all blue. So let's put R2 in here and see what he does. I think I might have to get some more. I'm going to put blue guy back in here and see what he does. But let's see. Yeah, there you go. Now they've had play sets like this where you can change car colors. My Little Ponies change, Barbies change. So this is nothing new, but it is kind of cool to see it. And now we have a much more white R2-ish, R2D2 looking figure. So that's kind of cool. All right, so now, of course, he looks a little more pink than he does white. But in addition to that, you have these little cranes that he can drop them in. I do believe, I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with this piece on the bottom here. I put that little case underneath it. So there might be something where you can put something on underneath. And then, of course, you have your sound effects. So they make different things. This is very reminiscent. I'm going to put the what is this one? This is the C1 astromech in there for a little bit and see what happens with the C1. Now, funny thing is, I put blue in there and it doesn't seem to have changed. So I think maybe in the case of this unit, I don't think the cold water does as much as the warm water does. It feels as though the warm water is the one that's really the acting agent. Okay, and the cold water, not so much. We'll see if I'm going to put this little BB unit in here in the cold and see if anything happens. Yeah, it definitely looks like the hot water is doing all the work. I mean, the cold water seems to be really doing nothing. Or it also could be just that it needs to dry. So it works pretty fast. There's what looks suspiciously like Chopper. Okay, he's a little, might need another minute or two in there, another moment or two. And I'm not exactly sure what to make of whether or not this guy, whether the power droid, yeah. There's Chopper. There he goes. Boom. Let's just put him in, and yeah, he looks like he was blue, and then he just grays up. That took no time. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll get it set up so I can drop all the figures in. We'll see what happens after a little while when they dry off, and what happens if we put this dude in here, little B unit. I'm gonna try to. I'm not used to working with water in the middle of my little set here. Yeah, he's Oop! I spilled. I've spilled on my set. What is that? Silly. All right. Yeah. So here you go. He came out all red. Okay. And again, I will re-record this. Not re-record. I'll show some photos at the end. Showing them all as they look when you completely, get rid of that. But so it says warm. Oh well, cold water has to be pretty cold, so I might have to dip them in ice water to get them back. But yeah, it looks like if you do cold water, they'll go back the other way. So I don't know. Maybe this water isn't cold enough. I don't know. We'll see. Or the other thought I had was maybe they have to be dry. It's possible that they have to be dry. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so kind of a cool playset. Kind of harkens back, and I said this when I just took them out of the original box. It harkens back to the Droid Factory playset that took place in. It came out in the Kenner days in the late 70s. Of course, those weren't water-based. Those were basically you just build droids. That was the only time you could build an R2 that had the third leg before they started making him as a regular figure in the 90s. So it was kind of a cool thing, and I do believe Droid Factory type things have come and gone in a few other formats as well. But this is Disney's version of it. Really cool, nice fun playset. Great harkens back to playsets. And it's funny that I did not find this in. You could get this in. You had to get this in the Droid Depot in Disney World. So I thought that was interesting. I do think that some of the figures, like maybe the droids themselves, like this, are available in like Star Tours gift shop and other places. I mean, I think they are trying to pull some of the product out, like saying like, oh, we have stuff available from off-world, meaning from Batuu. And I think that they're trying to bring that into other places. But I think mainly speaking, you're going to find this playset and the droids. Go to Batuu. Go to Batuu and go to the Toydarian Toy Maker or the Droid. Actually, not even the Toydarian Toy Maker. Go to the Droid Depot. You don't have to go in and build a droid. There's a shop that you can walk in and get in line to build a droid, or you can go kind of to the right and there's a whole little wall of droid and even another small room past that where you can find lots of droid playset items. Okay, but that was like the really fun one that I wanted to get because as a collector of action figures, I thought that was a cool one to get. And they even have more than one pack of droids that you can get. So really cool, a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what else they come up with. That'll do it for this week's episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. Again, like, subscribe. Sorry I can't leave comments right now, but again, if you have any major questions, just email me at darthtuba77@gmail.com, and that information's on the at the tail end. And please spread the word. Let people know about the channel. Thank you to all of our new subscribers, and look forward to getting more content out to you. I will tell you that at the moment, there's an absence of new items. The holidays have come and gone, so I'm waiting for some items that I've purchased that are waiting to be released. So I'm going to be looking for some other things. But until then, we still have some. We can do some vintage unboxing stuff, or at least some older unboxing stuff. We can do some shelf talks that we have up in the online on the docket, ready to go. So those no shortage of content. So thank you so much for watching. We can't wait to get there. There is a new Galaxy's Edge trip coming up in a couple of months, and we'll see what else we have out there where we can find. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, may the Force be with you.